morning, wherever you are at. Last week we have talked about do and don't, right? What are the do's that you do? What are the don'ts that you don't? Today, our topic is just I want to talk about common sense. I really feel like one of the most common thing that a client tell us is, oh my God, my VA does not have common sense. And the truth is common sense is kind of like a myth. And what I wanted to do is I would like to get you to listen to a TEDx real quick to, get your brain fired up with this conversation. And again, I just want to remind you that make sure that you're really focusing on this call, right? You're not doing anything else, checking any emails, whatever, make sure that you're really focusing on us, because I also think that today's call is one of the most important calls that will really help you to bridge the gap between you and your clients and realign your perspective about what is really common sense. Okay? So be ready, and let me share my screen.
And in fact, you can tell that if you ask a bunch of people what is common sense, they'll all tell you that they know the answer, and they'll all give you a different answer. Okay, so my answer, for the purpose of today, is that common sense is the kind of intelligence that we rely on to navigate concrete, everyday situations. So if I look around the room, I notice that none of you have shown up in your swimwear today. And, but the chances are that when you got dressed this morning, you didn't sort of have to think deeply about whether or not to wear your bikini. And, the reason why we can do this, every kind of decision that we make every day when we get up, there's all kinds of rules that we have to follow in getting dressed, and we don't have to think about them because it's just common sense. Common sense also tells us how to behave in different kinds of circumstances. So the way that I'm speaking to you now is very different from the way you were speaking to each other during the lunch break. And the chances are that if I sort of walked into one of your groups during lunch and started speaking to you like this, you would think it was very strange, right? That I was somebody who didn't know how to interact socially, that I lacked common sense. I live in New York, and we spend a lot of time on the subways in New York, and many of the times they're crowded, and if someone is sort of stacked up against you in the subway on a crowded train, it's unpleasant, but it's not a big deal. If the train is empty and somebody comes and stands right next to you, it's absolutely bizarre. Or try walking into an elevator and facing the crowd instead of facing the door and see what happens. There are so many rules that we follow without even knowing that we're following them, and we don't need to think about it because that's what common sense does. Even for very abstract things like how to balance fairness and reciprocity in financial transactions or even personal transactions, we just know what we're supposed to know. We know what we're supposed to do, and we don't even know how because it's just common sense. Okay, so what's the problem? If common sense is so good at helping us reason about human behavior, why, how does it fail? And the answer is that it is so good at dealing with these everyday concrete situations, we try to use it to reason about human behavior even in situations that are not concrete everyday situations. So the kinds of problems that I just mentioned, like managing the economy, designing a marketing campaign, and so on, these are not concrete everyday situations. These are situations that involve thousands or millions or even hundreds of millions of people who are all very different from each other, who occupy very different contexts, and they're all interacting with each other in very complex ways over extended periods of time. And when we use common sense to reason about these kinds of situations, it can mislead us. That is the central claim. It turns out that this is a problem that sociologists have worried about for a long time. Way back in 1947, Paul Lazarsfeld, the great American sociologist who also taught at Columbia, incidentally, was writing this very interesting review of a book called The American Soldier. So The American Soldier was a study that was commissioned by the US War Department during World War II, and sociologists went into the US Army and interviewed about 600,000 soldiers and asked them what life in the Army was like. So Lazarsfeld is reviewing the publication of this report, and he gives the reader a sense of what it contains by describing some of the results. And result number 2 that he describes is that men from rural backgrounds, in general, fared better than men from city backgrounds. Lazarsfeld then steps back from the review and imagines the reader's response. And the reader says, oh, that's obvious, right? Of course men from rural backgrounds did better than men from cities. Men from rural backgrounds are used to living outside, they're used to sleeping on the ground, they're used to physical labor, they're used to getting up with the sun. Why did I need such a vast and expensive study to tell me what I could have figured out on my own just using my common sense? Good point, Lazarsfeld says. Except that the answers that I just gave you were the opposite of what the report actually found. It was really city men, not rural men, who did better in the Army. Now, if he told you that answer to begin with, the correct answer, you also could have reconciled that one with other things that you thought you knew, right? So yes, of course, men from city backgrounds did better. They're used to large vertically integrated organizations. They're used to showing up every day in something like a uniform. They're used to strict chains of command, rigid hours. Again, that is obvious to me. Lazarsfeld says, exactly. And here's the problem. When every conclusion and its opposite appear equally obvious once you know the answer, there is a problem with the concept of obviousness. So fast forward 60 years, Lazarsfeld observation is also true of much more complex events. So we think about the unfolding possible crisis happening in Europe now. It's very complicated. There are lots and lots of potentially relevant factors and lots of potential outcomes that we can imagine. Everything from, a lot of fuss about nothing to a total meltdown of the Eurozone. So when we think about things that are happening now, they seem deeply complex, they seem deeply ambiguous. But if we look back at the last financial crisis, we see a very different picture. We know how that one ended. And so we can sort of sift through the mix of all the potentially relevant things, and we can construct this narrative that leads inevitably to the outcome that we have observed. Of course, now that we know that we had a financial crisis, it's obvious to us that housing was in a bubble. It's obvious to us that securitization of mortgages was a real problem, that mortgage standards were too lax. And it's obvious to us, given all of these factors, that we were inevitably headed for a disaster. It seems like a deterministic thing. Now, I want to make 2 points. The first one is we can always do this. No matter what the outcome is, there's always so many things that could have been relevant. We can always sort of go through the box and pick out the ones that lead seemingly to the answer that we have, that we know we now have. And that's Lazarsfeld's point. But the second point is, and the more subtle one is, we can only do this once we know the outcome. We cannot do it at the time. And so the outcome, the result of all of this is that the things that we call explanations, the things that we call, that we look to help us understand the complex events that have happened in the world are really just stories. They're not explanations at all. They tell us what happens. They tell us the sequence of events that led to where we are. They do not tell us why. Okay, is this bad? Well, not always. Stories are powerful. There are many reasons that we use stories, and they are, they're inspiring to us. They help us get out of bed in the morning. Stories, I'm not advocating that we get rid of stories. What I am saying, however, is that they're so powerful that the stories that we tell about history are so powerful, we're tempted to generalize from them to make predictions. And if you don't think we do that, look at this quote. This is George Santayana, the philosopher, who says, "Those who do not learn from history are condemned to repeat it." He is explicitly saying you should look at these narratives that we have about history and you should generalize from them to make predictions about the future. Now, again, this is not always bad. Think about common sense. Think about where it works. If we get to experience the same situation over and over and over again, we really can learn cause and effect. We really can learn what we're supposed to do. But the whole problem with complex systems is that history never really repeats itself. We can convince ourselves that it does, but it never really does. And so when we try to use this sort of narrative approach to history to make predictions about the future, to design policy, to design our marketing campaign, to make our next video go viral, whatever it is we're trying to do, we always run into this law of unintended consequences. Okay, so at this point, many of you are feeling depressed. What's the point? I came here to get inspired. What is this guy doing? There is a bright side to all of this, that even though this can seem encouraging, once you get it, like once you realize that your intuition is not as good as you think it is, at least for certain kinds of judgments, you have to start thinking of other things that you can do. So what can you do? Well, what I would point to is a long history of scientific progress where the scientific method has helped us to understand the world precisely where we do not have intuition. That is really all the scientific method is. And the claim that I want to make and what I want to advocate is that the kinds of problems that I'm talking about here in policy and marketing and strategy can all benefit from a more systematic, a more scientifically driven approach. And you might say, okay, that's fine, but if that's so obvious, why hasn't that been done? And I think there's a very good answer, is that the problems, again, the problems that I'm talking about are problems that involve large numbers of people interacting with each other in complex ways. Now, historically, and I really mean like up until about 10 years ago, it was impossible to observe these interactions. And it's very, very hard to do science when you can't observe things. It's very hard to do science when you cannot measure the things that you're interested in. And what has changed in the last 10 years or so, and why it's so exciting for people like me to be sort of at the intersection of social and computational science, is that the internet has really kind of, unveiled, has really made the invisible visible, has really given us the ability to measure the interactions between even hundreds of millions of people in real time and over extended periods of time. And it's sort of maybe a little bit fanciful to say this, but it feels to many of us working in the field as if social science has sort of stumbled on our equivalent of the telescope, the device, the technology that made the previously invisible visible, and historically that has led to dramatic improvements in science. And so there's a laundry list of things I can talk about. There's so many projects that we're working on. We use Twitter, we use Facebook, we use Amazon's Mechanical Turk, we use email, we use search logs. Everything you do online, everywhere you go online, everyone you talk to online, you are not just doing things, you are also generating this enormous sort of web of interactions that help us as social scientists understand the world on this very large scale. Now, I don't know where this is going. It's very early days. And even with all of this data, even with this scientific approach that I'm advocating, it's probably not going to be the case that social science is ever going to be anything like physics with its beautiful, elegant laws that apply everywhere in the universe. The social world is just messier than that, and there's probably nothing that we can or should try to do about it. Nevertheless, this revolution in data, I really do believe this, will certainly transform social science. It's already transforming it. And I hope, and one thing that I want to try to advocate for is that this revolution can also change the way we think about these other problems in business and even in policy. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. So again, what is common sense? Again, because I am coming from Malaysia, right? And I grew up in Malaysia until I was 21 and I come to United States. Before I see, someone that is, blonde hair, white skin, I was like, who are they, right? Because people in this world, right? My common sense when I was growing up, people in this world have black or brown hair like me, right? And black or brown eyes, right? And, our skin is like this, that is my world, right? And I remember when I was growing up, our movies are just, Asian movies, right? Like they're from Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, right? You really don't know that there is other people in other skins that is there. Does it kind of make sense? And then because I grew up in Malaysia, right? So my common sense is, what is coal, right? Coal it's about 18 degrees Celsius. I remember 18 degrees Celsius in the mountain. We have a place called Genting Island. It's a casino, but that was like the coldest place I have ever experienced. You get what I'm saying? So what is coal? I mean, it's tolerable, right? I just have to wear a thin jacket and I'm good, right? That is the coldest you can get. Am I right? So based on that common sense that I got, right, growing up, I say, well, I'm just going to go to United States for school and I'm going to go to the coldest place because the coldest place is how much? 18 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure how much that is in Fahrenheit. Maybe somebody can pop it in for me. I think it's like maybe 60-degree Fahrenheit or something like that. Then I landed in Minnesota, right? I mean, how cold can it be? Come on, right? I mean, I've been through Genting Highland. That is cold, right? And I remember one day I took a shower, my hair was all wet, right? And I need to go to school. When I was looking from the outside, I saw bright sun. It must be warm. Am I right? Like, come on, how cold can it be? Am I right? I open out the door. Oh my goodness. Immediately shut it off, right? And I realized I need to put more stuff on me. In United States, every hotel has a hair dryer. They must have a hair dryer. In a common sense, in United States, every hotel, they have a coffee machine, but they don't have a hot water kettle. Okay. But again, when I was younger, when I was 21, I went to United States, right? So I haven't really able to stay in a hotel before. Maybe a couple times, but I just don't really remember, right? So after so many years, I was like, oh my God, I started to, what do? I started to bring a water kettle to all my hotel room in United States because when you're doing a coffee machine, those coffee machine, it just tastes like coffee and I don't drink coffee, so I don't really like it. So I remember vividly, I went back to Singapore and I went to stay at the hotel. I was like, oh my God, like this is like a 5-star hotel. They have water kettle, right? You can boil water in the hotel. This is amazing, right? Then I come to find out, oh, that is a common sense. Like every hotel in Malaysia, Singapore, I don't know about Philippines yet. I don't know whether I checked it or not. Is they always have a hot water, kettle. I was like, oh, now I was like, oh, that is common sense, right? The common sense in the United States is they must have an air dryer, right? And also a Bible in the drawer. In Malaysia, especially, they always have an arrow towards the north for the Muslim to pray, and they always have a hot water kettle. But again, if you put those two people chat with each other and say, well, what is your common sense, right? Oh, come on, it is common sense. How come you don't know about this common sense? You get what I'm saying? Like it happens so many times. And because I'm on the very extreme world, right? United States, Malaysia, right? Or United States, Singapore. They are very opposite of each other. And thus I observe a lot. Again, in Malaysia at the very beginning, right? When we were growing up, we squat, right, when we use the bathroom. Okay, so there's a hole on the floor and we squat and we use the bathroom. So we're growing up, we squat. Okay, but when I go to United States, what do? We sit, right? We have a toilet bowl just like you in Philippines. It's a surprise. I didn't know that Philippines doesn't have a squatting system. So you will notice in the Chinese restaurant bathroom, or a lot of the bathroom, as long as there's like more Asian people, in United States, you will notice they have a sign and say, please do not squat on the toilet. you know? And some of the people's like, why? Like, why would they squat? Because, in Asia, like in Chinese culture, in Malaysia, Singapore, at the very beginning, they're all squatting. It's a squatting system. So honestly speaking, I know I'm gonna tell you the very vulnerable part about this is that when I first go to the United States, I don't know how to use the bathroom because I have never sit on the toilet seat all my life. Same token, I talked to one of my friends and it was really funny. She went to Japan, right? And she said, okay, where's the bathroom, ma'am? Oh, but the bathroom is right there. So she go around, saw a room open, nothing, closed the room, walk a couple rounds. I don't see the bathroom. Yeah, this is the bathroom. She opened. What? Your bathroom is on the floor, like I need to squat? Yeah. Right? Even me and my husband, right? We have been together for 19 years and then we started to bring him back to Asia. And literally, like last 2 years, I think he's the first time he was squatting using the business. Like, I don't know what to do. So what I did is I took off my shirt, I took out all my pants, so I was naked doing my business because I don't know what to do with the bathroom. And I was like, come on, you don't have common sense. You just need to squat. You get what I'm saying? Why am I sharing this with you? Because I really do think, like, just like what the doctor was saying, like common sense is such an abused. To me, it's like a abused message, like language, idea, thoughts. I think it's funny to a certain extent because it's like we all immediately say, man, you don't have common sense, right? I just saw what Monique say. Yeah, the Okura hotel, they have automatic toilets, so if you sit on the toilet for too long, they actually will close the bathroom the toilet cover down. Monique's like, oh boss, I don't know what happened, the thing is just hitting my head. I was like, okay, let me turn it off for you, right? One night we were hanging out with each other, right? And I remember in United States again, one of my guys, one of my best friend went to the bathroom and they have the automatic bidet. So all of a sudden you just hear, oh, what the, because there's all of a sudden the water shooting on his butt, right? And he's like, I don't know what to do. And everybody was laughing because it's like, hey, in Korea, right? In Japan, it's common sense. They have bidet. If you don't like it, you got to turn it off. If not, they will just shoot you up to make sure that you're clean, right? And I also realized that, like in Philippines, right? Don't ask me how close I am with Monique, right? But Monique was peeing, in the same bathroom as I am. And she was just getting the what is that called? The sprinkler. What is that called? Is it called sprinkler? Right? And she
Abo.
just
Bidet.
Bidet, okay, bidet, yeah, right, but the manual one, right? And you just clean, and then she just clean it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But what I'm trying to tell you is like common sense is really not common. Sometimes, especially because right now you're new, you just started with us, right? Some of you guys made me feel a little negative about this word common sense too, because sometimes, especially sometimes with the clients, I want you to give them some compassion, right? Because some of the client that we have in United States, they have never been outside of United States, right? And you are the very first VA that they work with you. You're the very first one, right? So to them is whatever they know is common sense. Whatever they know is common sense. I would have not known that there's a lot of quote unquote the common sense that is not so common, right? If I compare with, after I work with so many people, because at the very beginning, I was like, come on, man, this is common sense. How come you don't know that this is common sense? They're like, no, this is not common sense. So what do I mean by that? Like, okay, when you show up to a meeting, right? You should be on time, right? In my company, my common sense is you need to show up 5 minutes ahead of time. If not, you will be punished, right? To me, as an EA, your common sense is you should be able to predict what I want. But then the crazy part is, how do you know what I want? Because this is the first time you work with me, right? What is common sense to everybody, right? Did you notice that, like, all of you guys, when I just say, hey, what is your common sense of morning routine, right? Everybody is different. Everybody's different. So what is common sense? I mean, you guys are all Filipinos, right? Shouldn't you guys have all the same common sense about morning ritual? Actually, the truth is they're not the same, right? They're not the same. Like my morning ritual, my common sense, right? In my family, right? For my kids, like my kids will know, like, come on, everybody, like this is common sense. But what the common sense is, this is what mommy tell me that I need to do every morning, right? Which is obviously like brush teeth, wash face. They have to take off their contact lens and they have to drink 1 full cup of water and they have to run around in our house for 15 rounds to get their blood going. Okay, at the very beginning we also have morning prayers that we talk about too. So so everybody's morning routine is different. So when you talk about common sense, what is common sense, right? And my best friend's kids, what is the common sense for them? Wake up in the morning, find their iPad and sit with their iPad until mom tell them to go brush their teeth. And then when they eat, when they're in the bathroom, when they're in the shower, when they are sitting in the car, the phone is always attached to their hip, like this. But for us, common sense in with me, right, in the car is as soon as the engine is cranking, no more iPad, no more visual digital, because then it's gonna hurt your eyes. But again, two family, both from United States, both Asian too, right? Both pretty successful. But again, what is the common sense when the car is running? Totally different. So what am I trying to tell you is that even if you are husband and wife, your common sense might be very different from one and the other. I mean, the truth is, the women common sense is what? Guys, if you love me, you have to tell me that you love me for 15 times a day. You told me 5 minutes ago, I appreciate you to tell me again, right? Rodi's like, yeah, absolutely, right? For the guys, common sense is, I already told you that I love you 3 years ago. You should know that I love you. I don't have to tell you that I love you again. Do you see the difference between the it, right? Who is right, who is wrong? I don't think there's anybody that's right or wrong. It's just the key is that we need to understand each other. Okay, we need to understand each other. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that I really want you to, one, be really curious and have a lot of fun about this word common sense. Boss, I don't know what I don't know, right? Everybody type it down, right? Boss, I don't know what I don't know. What is your common sense on this? Right now we have AI, right? So one of my friend, I just spoke with him. Apparently he enrolled into a school, and the common sense for the school right now, the kids are 4 years old. They no longer teach them how to do math. Very advanced. They don't teach a kid how to do math anymore because the computer is going to be able to do the math. So they don't teach the kids how to do math anymore. They teach the kids how to behave and how to have the best state in mind. There's some school right now, common sense, right? In United States right now, is that the kids is no longer learning history, no longer have to learn how to spell because you can get all that from AI now. But is it common sense to us? No, it's not common sense. Like my kids need to learn how to do math. I need to learn how to spell, right? But the world is changing. Common sense is also changing. I bet, for me, right, before I attend UPW and after I attend UPW with Tony Robbins, my common sense is totally different. Before, when something bad happened to me, I would just say, oh my God, it sucks. See, I am unlucky, right? Things happen to me, right? The world is unfair, right? That's my common sense. But now, after I went to UPW, Tony Robbins, UPW, I realized that, life happened for me, not to me, right? It happened for me so that I can get better, I can get stronger, I can, so there's a reason for everything, right? I have a really bad childhood, but the reason why I have a bad childhood is so that I can be more successful today, I can be more independent today, I can get better today. But before, my common sense is the other way around. Okay, so it's all about mindset shift, and again, it changes all the time. I bet a lot of you guys that are here, right? If you attend our 30-day training and constantly learning about all these things, I bet, a year from today or even 30 years, right? After you graduate, you will notice that your common sense before you start with us and after you start with us, totally different. I remember vividly one of the gal was telling me, man, before I join your thing, common sense is don't speak up to your client, right? And just quit if it doesn't work out. Simple, right? You are my fifth client already. And then after that, the common sense is, oh, I should just talk to my clients because I can work with my client for 12, 15, 20 years too, so that I can retire with them instead of keep running through this rat race of finding a new client. It's like almost like you're dating and dating and dating and dating and dating instead of finding someone and just stay forever. Well, again, obviously they have their own perks, right? You do what you feel good on. But again, I am 40 years old. What do I want? I want to work with somebody forever and I don't want to retrain, right? It's to me right now it's tiring to go date all the time, right? I just wanted to have some friends that we're going to be working with each other. Okay. So again, what I want to share with you right now, right, is a few common sense that I want you to remember. The very first common sense that we always wanted to share with you is when you're working with your clients, make sure that you change your computer time to the time zone that your clients have. Okay. Because a lot of time, especially like right now, right, it is about, I think it's like 12 o'clock Philippine time. Am I right? 12:40 Philippine time. A lot of the new VAs a lot of time will look at the clock and got the wrong time. And then when sometimes the clients ask you something, you'll get it wrong, right? So the very first thing that you wanted to do, yeah, it's 12:40 Philippine, right? So right now it's 11:40. You always wanted to make sure that your time zone is in United States because when you shift your schedule, right? Like we have daylight savings, your computer automatically will already track that so that you don't have any miscommunication with the clients, right? The second one that is really huge for me personally is, always show up on time, right? If you're not early, you're late. If you're on time, you're late too, right? So in our organization, it's always 5 minutes before, right? You just log in, right? Then go get a water, go bathroom, do whatever. But you want to show the clients that you are already there. And then number three, right? When you are showing up, please let your clients know that you are here, right? Good morning, boss, I'm here, right? Good morning, boss, I'm here, right? Even better, common sense number four, that linked to the number three, is that be the best relationship builder. Be the best relationship builder. Turn your client to be your friends. Turn your clients to be your friends because friends, we talk about everything. Friends, we don't really get annoyed when you need help, when you are sick, when you get something wrong. But if you're a worker, absolutely, right? I mean, think about it. When you have somebody that work with you, right, and they are sales representative, all you talk to them is, yeah, why are you late for 5 minutes? Why this thing is not done? Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? Because they are not a friend for you. But if it's a friend, oh my God, my kids are sick. Oh, no problem. You go take care of that, right? Because we're friends. And that's again, you know, don't call them with, their, like, oh, sir or ma'am, right? Just call, hey, Phyllis, right? Hey, Rachel, right? Hey, Monique, right? If you really, really need to, because you're so used to it, then just add a miss or mister, right? But again, when you use the word miss or mister, it already immediately create a gap between the two. I'm not asking you to be disrespectful, but I'm telling you to turn them into your friend. So going back to the number three, right? The number three, when you tell your client that you are in, give them a short sentence, something positive about what happened to you that day. That would be my common sense. Hey, good morning. I just have an amazing breakfast this morning. Hey, good morning. I just run 1 mile today. What about you? Right? Hey, good morning. My kids just won an award at school. What about you? Because the relationship building is based on personal stuff, not just business. If you guys are strictly only talking about business, then you have a business relationship. But the strongest relationship that everybody have is a personal relationship. I can tell you this time when I go back to Philippines, right? When I go to Philippines, I met with Monique this time around. Like every time I met with her, I think our relationship just got deeper, right? And now I understand her even more than what we had before And thus, I really think after Philippine trip coming back, we actually have less, we fight a lot less. We understand each other more. Because why? We hang out with each other for 10 days and we see each other, we feel each other, right? We communicate with each other more. So it's more like more and more, I don't think we have friends level, we're more like sisterhood level right now, right? So, we really get to know each other. And when you become a family members, when you become like a sister, oh, this is my brothers, my sister, it's even more, right? You will accept them even more. You accept their flaw even more because they're a sister now. I remember like from Maritz, right? We have really closer relationship because there's a period of time, we were hanging out and she was laughing and crying at the same time. She literally like crying and then all of a sudden she's laughing and I was like, oh my God, like this is so cute. Right? I never seen anybody like that before, right? And I saw like Jennifer becoming extremely outspoken, right? But again, during work time, I have never seen anything like that. A lot of time, you don't show your true self to your clients because obviously we need to be professional, but figure out where's that line. How can you be the best relationship builder? Okay. The next one, this one is easier to digest, very practical, is every call that you have with your client must be recorded. Okay, this might be a good reminder for all of you, right? But every call that you have with your client must be recorded. Okay, because why? Number one, if you guys have Loom, even better, right? So that you can transcribe it, right? Or you can record it and then you can upload. You can actually, I do believe one of the AI software, you can upload the video into it, right? Or again, you can actually upload it into YouTube. YouTube can give you free transcription and everybody can have a free YouTube account. Okay, and you can get the transcription. And then what you do is you can pop that into AI and get it transcribed and all that. But the key is that sometimes the client is like, come on, man, like he doesn't have common sense. I already taught him. So what do? You go back to watch a recording over and over again until you get it. You get what I'm saying? Because the truth is you usually will not get it the very first time because common sense, if you don't or don't know, is business owner are always fast. Business owner messages are very scattered. Right? We might tell you 3 things to do in one sentence and you only catch one instead of 3, right? There's so much that you should be recording so that you can always trace it back. And also you can use that and then pop it in to ChatGPT and say, what else am I missing? What else do I need to do? How can I make this better? What is the common sense that the client is trying to get to me so that I know what is going on? Right? And I love what Lauren say, right? Clarify and verify, right? What is the common sense, right? Yes, I would love you to ask the client, hey, is it okay if I record the call? And common sense to me right now, right, with my team, is like when the VA come into my call, right, the very first time, right, this is what I observe, right? I will start talking and then we'll see whether the VA will do what. Oh, wait, boss. Wait. Can I record the call real quick? Yes, you passed the test. Right? Nicole did that the very first time. I think Ruth, another one of our VA, did that too. Hey, hold on. Let me record the call real quick. Because sometimes you get distracted by messages. Sometimes you get distracted by other things. So always get it recorded. That's a common sense in our community. Outside of us, I don't know what is the common sense out there. But for me, business owners are always so busy. If you get them to train you the second or third time, they will get frustrated. They will train you less. It's just better for you to watch it 4, 5, 6 times. Sometime when I first started with my business, I love one of the coaches. I would actually even listen to them while I was sleeping so that it can kind of get into my brain, subconscious mind. But that is my common sense. I'm not sure whether that is yours or not. The next common sense, okay, I guess is number 6, right, is always have them black and white. Always have the decisions, the ask, the final summary, black and white, whether it is on WhatsApp, whether it's on emails, whether it's on a call, but you're recording it, right? Whether it is a text message. Why? I can't stress it enough for you. A lot of our VAs do not record them. And I tell you, business owner doesn't necessarily remember this common sense, is that we do not have a really good brain on our shoulder. It's kind of hard to say that. Okay, let me rephrase that, right? We only remember things that we care about the most. So if you ask me a question, say, hey boss, can I leave 2 hours early tomorrow because it's a holy week? Oh, sure. But in my mind, I was thinking about something else. right? And you did not put it in the chat to confirm, hey boss, I just want to confirm with you, right? You just approved that I can leave 2 hours early tomorrow. Then when tomorrow come, I trust me, this thing happened to me at least 10 times. Okay. This is speaking by, experience. Hey, where's Hannah? How come Hannah's not here? Right? Oh, boss, remember, Hannah asked you that, whether she can leave, 2 hours ahead. No, I didn't say that. When did I say that? Show me the proof. Right? Show me the proof. Oh, there's no proof. How come there's no proof? That means I didn't say it. Am I right? I could be. I mean, the truth is, common sense. Maybe number 7, right? The one who pays always is always right. I know I said that on you on day 1, right? So what does that mean? Business owners is always right. Am I right? Even though it's unreasonable, but isn't that the fact? When you grow up, isn't mom always right? Even though you know mom is wrong, but mom is mom. So mom is always right. Am I right? Right? Some of you guys are laughing so hard. Am I right? Mom is always right. Even though it's wrong, but she's always right. My mother-in-law is always right, right? Even though I know she's wrong, but she's always right. Right? My grandmother is always right, right? Even though she's wrong, but she's always right. Unfortunately, the world, the wife is always right. Absolutely. I don't know about your husband though, but I agree. In my family, right? In my house, right? The wife is always right, okay? I am always right, okay? If I'm not right, I'm always right, okay? Right? But again, I want you to remember number 7, right? Business owner is always right. And thus, you need to show the proof because we have a lot of VAs in our community. Sometimes, like, we want to fight with you, right? Like, we want to fight for you, fight together with you to make sure that we tell the client, hey, you are wrong. Like, I know my VA is right. But then when you come to it, right, common sense, right? We don't have any proof. I can't fight for you because they're always right. Because if they're wrong, what happened? They're either going to ask for a refund, fire you, or want another VA. So who is still right? They're still right because ultimately they're still winning in this position, right? But you want to give them compassion because we have so much thing that is going on our head. Something that is important to you and is a common sense to you is not a common sense to me. It's not important to me. Does it kind of make sense? I'm not trying to make it selfish or anything, but I have observed it quite a few times. And obviously, in your common sense, right? In your world, your common sense, I got it, right? Boss, you already told me that I can take a day off, right? So, how do you forget? It's common sense. How can you forget? Right? Am I right? And then here I am. I'm gonna fighting with you. I love Hannah's background. I think Hannah is attending UPW. Yeah, Hannah, live with passion. Tony Robbins.
No, he's my client.
That's right. Remember, see, like, Tony Robbins is her clients. How exciting is that, right? And some of the team members is going to UPW this weekend. So thank you so much for doing amazing work, right? Because now our common sense is we represent Tony Robbins. You get what I'm saying? Like, we represent Tony Robbins, right? We're pretty good, right? So thank you for that, right? Thank you for the great representation. But again, like, they should be black and white. And the craziest part is, let me tell you about this really funny thing, okay, about common sense too, is that if you're a C personality, okay, the DISC profile, if you're a C personality, if you're an accountant, it's so easy for you to get black and white because you always have black and white. Accountant, right, always have black and white. Everything's on papers. Approved, not approved, this or that, right? It's black and white. There's no gray area. But if you're a D or an I, okay, especially the I people, they don't have black and white. Come on, right? As long as you're happy, we're good, it's okay. We're late for 5 minutes. No big deals, right? I mean, as long as they're happy, we're good, you know? But again, what is common sense? It's common sense is very different from everybody. The D personality common sense is as long as it's getting things done, it doesn't matter how we get it done. C personality people is we need to get it done, but we need to know exactly how to do it to get it done. The step by step is very important to them. So it's very different common sense. But I want to make sure that no matter you're a DISC, you're a D, I, S, or C, the common sense for you is that you must have them in black and white, especially if it is approval. Hey, boss, can you approve me for Holy Week vacation, right? Hey, boss, is it okay if can you approve this social media post for me to post it? This is also one of the common one. Yeah, go ahead. Right? But it's not black and white. It's just on Zoom and you didn't record it. And then afterwards, the client browsed through the Facebook. Hey, how come you put this one in? Oh, boss, you approve it. No, I didn't. I don't remember. I don't remember I approve it, right? Oh, too bad. Who win? I win because I don't remember, right? Because common sense for you, again, in our community is make sure that they're black and white. It's good for the soul, I promise. It's good for the communication, okay? And for us in our community, right? Again, I'm not care about everybody else, right? What other people is doing in this outside world, right? But in me, in our common sense, in our community, right, is that micromanaging is good. Micromanaging is good for the soul, especially at the very beginning. Do I micromanage Monique right now? No, of course. Of course not, because we have already built that trust. We already built the momentum. We already built the relationship. We already are in sync with each other. Do I know a lot about what Rachel or Maurice is doing nowadays? No, right? Because they have been working with me for a long time. I trust them. I know that they're always working. We know the rhythm. We know what their outcome is. Am I right? But when you first start up with a client, right, the common sense for you is that micromanaging is a beautiful word. It's a beautiful initiative. Why? Because we don't have common sense of each other's. We don't know how each other like. We don't know how each other want to do things. We don't know what is the preference, what's a step by step that you need to do. So you need to ask. I can really tell you, me and Nicole, right? I haven't talked to Nicole for a long time, and she was my SOP person, right? And all of a sudden, we got into, a common sense message, right? Hey, Nicole, how is the SOP coming? Oh, everything is good. Okay. Do we put all the videos in there? Oh, no, boss, everything is words, just words. I was like, what do you mean by everything is words? I have been posting so many videos. How come no videos is in there? Oh, boss, I don't know that we need to have videos. What do you mean by you don't know that we have videos? Right? Because in my mind is, Nicole, you should have common sense. Everything nowadays are videos. And I keep telling, record this video, put it on SOP. How come they're not there? Then I realized I didn't verbally tell Nicole. I thought someone would have told Nicole about it, but that someone have never showed up because everybody thought that Nicole had that common sense that we have videos and video need to be uploaded into our SOP. Even us right now, right here, right? Because my common sense right now with this new DNA, right, with AI and all that, everything is on video. My kids doesn't really watch, doesn't really read books anymore. They watch animation, right? They watch YouTube videos, right, to learn some stuff. So what is common sense, right? Again, common sense is such a myth. Common sense, the word is so, like I said, I feel like it's so not abusive. What is the word? I just don't never really like when somebody come to me and say, this is common sense. I was like, no, hell no, this is not common sense. This is not common sense. I didn't know. It's like when you go to Asia, right? Go back to Malaysia, right? Yeah, it's very overused. When you go to a restaurant in Malaysia, they give you a fork, right? Because that's common sense. Everybody use, I'm sorry, chopstick, right? Everybody use chopstick. In United States, everybody give you fork. Nobody give you chopsticks until you ask, can I get a chopstick? Do you know in United States too, common sense, when you eat rice? I don't know about you guys. Actually, you need to type it down, let me know. In United States, eating rice at a Chinese restaurant, the American use fork. They use fork to eat rice. I literally watching them how they finish their rice because I was amazed. Because like it's fork, right? Like it's like it would drip. And some Americans are so proud that they know how to use chopsticks, right? So they will use chopstick to eat rice. Literally like just a scoop and a scoop. But for me, it's like that's not a common sense. I would just use a spoon, because it's easy. I have never used even though I use chopstick for, since I was growing up, but we never ever in Asia that is using chopstick to eat rice, right? I mean, I mean, if you want to lose weight, I think it's great because it's going to take you a little bit to finish the food. I guess that is a good thing, right? But just wasn't common sense to me until I see it and then I appreciate it and I learned the culture. So in their culture, if they're Americans and they know how to use chopstick, usually they would use chopstick or they would use a fork to eat their rice. And I literally saw like, like the last few pieces of the rice grain and they literally use the fork and squeeze it down. You do know that you can squeeze it down and then you will squeeze the rice in between the gap of the fork and you eat it. I did not know that. For me, common sense would be I would take out, if I don't have a spoon, I would maybe use my hand to scoop it on or, push, hold out the plate and just scoop it into your mouth, right? But it was such an art to see them eat rice with fork. But again, why am I telling you this? Because again, common sense is not so common. And I would just want to share with you some of the quote unquote the common sense that we have for you. We just want to instill these things into you so that one, it's kind of like the GPS. You guys, I was showing you the fastest way to going through it. Or if you don't want to pay for the toll tag, like in United States, we have toll tag, right? Which means you have to pay like $5 to say 20 minutes, right? Or skip the traffic, right? And on your GPS, you can put down you want to go on scenic route, dirt road, right? Highway, you have to pay for it, right? You can click on them, right? So what we want you to do is we want you to go on the speedy way. I don't want you to try and error here. You can say that's the reason why we want you to stay here, come to this call, because we will teach you things that we know that you don't. And wouldn't it be more amazing when I teach you all these things, right? And then you just immediately implementing it instead of, oh, after I fight with my clients and I lost a client, then I realize, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, right? All right, so the next common sense, right? So again, oh, sorry, going to micromanaging. When you first started with your clients, I know your common sense is don't talk to the client, be as quiet as you possibly can, don't step on landmine, right? Don't communicate with them. But what I want you to do is, besides them micromanaging you micromanaging them too. Hey, boss, it's 8 o'clock. I'm gonna check my emails. I'm gonna do this, do that, do this, do that. Okay, after I'm getting this done, what do you want me to do next? How do you want me to do it? When do you want me to talk to you? Hey, boss, I just got this one thing done. Can you double check it, make sure that everything is good? Right? I would love you to micromanage me first, ask as many questions as possible first until they say, man, this is amazing. This is good. Just go for it. You don't have to ask me about this anymore. Or you can tell them, boss, I am going to keep asking you until you tell me that I'm good. You don't have to ask me anymore. But if they don't say that, please keep asking them, asking them, asking them until they tell you to stop, right? Ultimately, that is the power of follow up. You need to follow up with them, okay? So number 9, right? Number 9 is the power of follow up. This is my common sense, and I think this will save a lot of you guys a lot of grief, okay? This is my common sense. My common sense is if your clients want to get things done, okay, and they did not get it done, that is your fault, not their fault. Right? That is your fault, not their fault. Right? Because a lot of you guys here, you are the EA. What is your job? Your job is to ensure that they get their work done. Some of you here, or I would say 80% of you, I haven't seen anybody that's really, really good at this yet. I mean, a couple of you guys, but is the power of follow up. Again, see, personality, accountant, you guys are amazing at it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I guess, yeah, I'm right on that. But it's the power of follow up. Boss, this thing, I already reminded you for 10 times. You still haven't get it done. I'm going to remind you the 11th time until you tell me to stop reminding you. If not, I'm going to continue to remind you until it is done. That's the number one thing that most VAs does not do. I'm going to remind you 1 time, 2 times. Oh, I don't want to bother my clients anymore. They're not giving me any more responses. I think I'm just going to automatically just weed it out, And then one day the client come back. Why didn't you tell me that I didn't get it done? I totally forgot about it. Because your clients have scattered brain. Most of you guys here are C and S, I would say, unless you're in sales and customer service, then you'll be an I. But most of you guys here are C and S. So you're supposed to be organized. You're supposed to ensure that things are done. I know it's kind of harsh for me to say, hey, common sense is if I don't get things done, it's your fault, not my fault. But it is really true. That's what we really think subconsciously. We just don't speak it out. So you need to really like, okay, these are the 10 things the client's going to do. I'm going to keep reminding you. I'm going to micromanage you, boss. Right? Boss, right now, you have 5 minutes. Get this one done. Like literally, like Grace will put, I told Grace too, it's like, hey, put it in my calendar. So she literally put down, review 8 emails. Pay this invoice. Because I saw it in my thing. Right? So I saw it in my thing. So I will just do it. But if sometimes she would say, oh, boss, just do this. But it's not my schedule. If not on my schedule, I just went out, hang out with my kids, talk to my kids because there's nothing on my schedule. Right? There's nothing on my schedule. So I'm not doing anything. Right? So now I was like, hey, if you need me to do something, you better block me off because I only want to work 8 hours. It's after 8 hours, I'm not going to work anymore. Right? But again, the power follow up. I mean, if you can master that, you will be a VP at no time, right? What is a VP? What BVP is the virtual partners, right? You are the virtual partner that the client can never not want to do, cannot live without you. And Monique, give me a big note and say, remember, follow up, take notes every time, or use a task management tool. How many of you guys are using a task management tool? If you don't, we're going to be we will be, doing a video out and teaching us how to use it. In our organization, we're using Asana. Okay, we're using Asana. And if you guys need the software, right, let us know. We can create one for you too. Right. So feel free to type it down below, right, what kind of software you're using. I do think that, you should use a software, because just like what Monique said, common sense, guys, you do not remember everything. And I promise you, why do I know that? Again, another story, right? Long time ago, me and Monique, right? Monique's like, boss, we don't have to pay for CRM. I want to save you money, right? I remember every customer. That's a very beginning when we first started the business. I remember everything. I was like, okay. So I test her. Right? Oh, what about this customer? Oh, I know that she do this, she do that, she do this, she do that. This customer, I remember she do. I say one day you will not remember. I can guarantee you that. Right. But we start today. Right. Again, I have the common sense because I've run a business before. Right. She just started. She doesn't really have the common sense. She's like, I have a good memory. And by the way, Monique really have really good memories. Okay. I don't. Right. So different way of working. So eventually we got to 1,000 clients. 1,000 clients. Come on, Monique. We got a call, right? I'm so excited because I'm always right, right? I'm always right. Right? Sometimes she is, of course, sometimes she is. But so I was like, Monique, do you remember this client? Oh, man, I think I remember. No, I don't remember anymore. What about this client? Man, boss, like, why do you do this to me? Right? That's what she always say. Why do you do this to me? I just want to prove a point. You told me that you would remember every single client, but you don't. So guys, like when you're doing something, always have notes, like always pop in the notes, always put it in Asana, right? If you have a client, right, always ask your client for a CRM. If your client doesn't have CRM, by the way, we also have a CRM system that your client can subscribe to, that can use, that we are using right now, that you can log everything. And one thing that I love about this, especially if you have customer service or sales, right? We have client call in, we have caller ID. So we copy the phone number, paste it in our CRM, immediately will pop up the name, right? And then when the person called, I was like, oh, hey, Maureen, how are you doing today? Oh, how do you know it's me? Well, there's caller ID, but we of course know it's you because you're important, right? Oh, by the way, the last time, how is your son's wedding? Oh, how do you know that, my son's wedding? Oh, of course, you are important, right? So I remember, but it's in the note, right? So how can I help you today? They're like, oh my God, like I am a VIP, right? I'm a VIP, right? Because you remember I talked to you a year ago and you still remember my son's wedding, right? So what is the next common sense? Write down everything, right? Write down everything. Some of you guys don't. And then, I get frustrated too. I was like, remember the last time we talked about this? Oh, yeah. Let me think. Ah, I think that's what you say, boss. Can you take down your notes? Oh, boss, I forgot to put down my notes. Are you trying to force me to fire you? Because I, the boss, doesn't need to take notes because I'm only in charge of paying. Okay, let me be very clear with you about common sense of the definition of a boss, right? We don't have to record. We don't have to be reasonable. We can be very forgetful, right? And we don't have to take any notes. Why? Because my only common sense as a boss is I'm ensuring that I'm gonna pay you on time and pay you 100%. Everything else, you're supposed to get it done. That's my common sense. Your common sense is you're here to work to make me feel better, right? So do the thing, right? So again, write down everything, right? Write down everything, log everything. Again, if you're in a CRM, like a customer, my God, like I love it when I was dealing with customers because I always like, oh, hey, you talk to me, you talk to my, my colleague last Friday. And how's the baby? All right. How's this? How's that? So then we're gonna have a conversation. But again, why am I having a conversation? It go back to one of the point is I am the best relationship builder. Imagine Maureen call and I say, hey, Maureen, how are you? How's your son's wedding? If Maureen is trying to argue with me, fight with me, or complain about something, do you think that is almost automatically resolved? She's like mad, right? Oh, man, oh, you talk about my son's wedding? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's so cool. Oh, so amazing. Hey, so how can I help you today? Oh, man, can I just tell you, I was kind of angry before I call you, but now I feel better. This is what's going on. Can you help me solve this problem? Then you can say, yeah, okay, I can help you solve this problem. Because I am the best relationship builder. So I really rarely have any client complaint because I build relationship first. I let them see me. Hi, I am Phyllis. Okay, hi, I'm Phyllis. I am not your problem. I am not your issue, right? I am just Phyllis who are very happy and I love serving you. Life happen, things happen, not my intention. Don't shoot the messenger, right? So you wanted to turn to become that. Number 11 is the one that we always talk about is shyness does not make you money, right? Shyness does not make you money. I love that I created that quote. It is so customized for Filipino. I mean, maybe Asian, because if I tell my kids about it, I don't know whether my kids will understand that. Well, I'm sorry. In United States, kids are not shy. So shyness doesn't make you any money. Not really working out for like American kids, actually. At least not my kids. My kids are very out there. So I was like, can you guys be a little bit more shy? Like, don't get into people's face, Because when we go to like, like in the bus, oh hi, hi, how are you doing? What's going on with you? And I was like, dude, like, give people space. But in the American, in the Asian culture, people are just like quiet, sit down, don't talk to him, don't do anything, don't, right? So the key is again, shyness does not make you money. Please ask questions, get yourself out there, right? Because like for me, I just talked to Monique about this just now. We have a sales call, right? A client call. I feel kind of stressed. I feel a little bit shy about it, right? And but I still know that I need to do it, right? But then for Monique and Valerie, they're not shy at all, of course, right? They're really good at handling customers, right? But again, I still need to make myself out there because if I am shy, if I'm not training right now, if I'm not talking to customer, if I don't join any community, we will not have sales. We will not have people coming in and want to do this, want to do this with us, right? And what do I need to do? I need to make sure that they like, know, and trust me. They like, know, and trust me. That means, again, what does that really tell you is that, be the best relationship builder. Okay. And then the next one. Okay, the next one, I promise I'm gonna end with like two more, right? Is trust. You want to really build that trust. The reason why we're doing micromanaging, the reason why we're doing the follow-up, the reason why we're doing notes, the reason why we're doing a lot of these is because you need to build the commons, you need to build the trust with your clients. Sometimes the common sense is trust is given. For me, common sense is trust is earned, right? Why do you trust your mom to take care of your kids? Because that is your mom. You know how she is, you know what she would do, you know what happened when she's pissed, right? You know what kind of food she liked. Would you send a stranger to take care of your kids? No, because you don't trust them. And if you do hire them, what do? You micromanage them first. What time do you do what with my kids? How do you shower my kids? What kind of food do you give them to my kids? When my kids is rowdy and not listening, what are you going to do with them? Am I right? Because they are strangers. What do? You micromanage. You want them to follow with you. Oh, by the way, send a message. Oh, your kids just eat. Your kids is going to sleep. Your kids is this. Why? Because you will feel good when you know what is going on. One of the big trust breaker, okay, a big trust breaker is that a lot of you guys will say yes, boss, but you don't really understand. You use the word yes, boss as you hear, you hear what they say, but you're not really understanding what they say. And again, same with the truth is it's actually same with the clients. That's why we need to do a lot of clarify and verify, right? Sometime I will tell them, like I saw messages, I'll say, okay, but my mind is okay, I got it. But their mind is okay, I will do it. Right? Okay, I got it, or okay, I will do it. So when you're doing the word okay or yes, you have to tell them, hey boss, yes, I hear you. What do you want me to do? Yes, boss, I hear you. I'm going to do it. Totally two different things, even though it's a yes. One of the clients that unfortunately is looking for a replacement from the existing VA right now is he literally say, man, I tell them to, I told him, told her this, and she say, yes, boss, I got it. Yes, boss, I got it. And then when you do it, it wasn't exactly, she didn't get it. So again, why do you say yes? Right? Actually, it's a very common thing in Bangladesh, VA in Bangladesh. They tend to say yes a lot, but they have no clue what you are saying. So a lot of people actually do not hire, from Pakistan, Bangladesh. They actually hire more on the Philippines because you guys' rate of saying yes, but you don't understand it's a lot less. Okay. But again, it's trust, right? You need to build the trust with them by you telling them how you are, what you do, your background, your story, right? By following up, right? By writing down the notes, by reaffirming them what you really hear, right? By ensuring that, things are getting done, right? I won't put this in as a common sense, but it's way too common sense. So tell me, should we include it or not include it? Okay. But we have a lot of you. Come on, man, women, guys, elderly, I don't know how to call you, is that it is really a common sense for you to tell your client that you're sick and you cannot work. Type it down below. Is it a common sense? Yes, am I right? But still, there's still a lot of you that will just MIA on the client. Not a lot of you, right? Some of you guys will just MIA on the client. And some of you guys are, oh, what is MIA? By the way, MIA is also not a common, like LOL is not a common sense to me that I know LOL is laugh out loud, by the way. So yeah, thank you, Nicole, right? It's missing in action, Miami. um, it's, it is a common sense to let your clients know, hey, and again, by the way, if you have power outage and you cannot get a hold of anybody because you don't have internet, you could always tell another Filipino in the community. Text them. Find someone here, right? Find someone, your talent manager. Hey, can I get your phone number? But the truth is, you have their WhatsApp. WhatsApp have the phone number. So if you cannot WhatsApp out, you can Facebook Messenger them, or you can use the number and text them. And everybody have a phone nowadays. Even the kids has a phone nowadays. So there's no excuse for you to not tell your clients. Like, I feel like this is not even a common sense. Am I right? How many of you guys think this is not a common sense? I feel like this is like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, lower my standard. But come on. If you cannot work, let your clients know. Your client doesn't mind, right? And shyness doesn't make you money, but shyness will make you lose your job. Like, come on, if you cannot make it to work, what do? Hey, I'm sick today. I will be late today. I'm not going to be able to make it to work today, right? But if you MIA one time, understandable. We will swallow it. Two time, you're totally losing the trust. Third time, I cannot have you in my business anymore because I cannot trust you. I cannot, you are not backing me up. Right? When you have a nanny that's taking care of your kids, how would you feel when you're like, oh, here's the baby, and then when I come home, you were gone for 8 hours, and the baby just eat whatever, do whatever they could? Is it possible? Right? Common sense, right? You have a nanny, the nanny's supposed to take care of your baby. I have an EA because the EA is supposed to take care of my business. You cannot be gone without telling me. Am I right? So please, guys, common sense, like communicate, communicate. I know, like, I feel like this is like wasting my 5 minutes, but I was like, I need to tell you this. Please do not have MIA. It does not make sense, guys. Right? All right. What else? What other one? Let me look at this. Rachel say, this one, let's not put it on there, right? Rachel say, common sense. When you guys logging into Zoom, can you please use your own name? Not your husband name, but not your kid's name, right? Not your anime name, not your dating name, right? Like, use your real name. Okay. Yeah, that's a common sense, right? I don't know whether we should put that on there or not, but some of you guys, no common sense. Okay. Oh, this is a good common sense. This is a good common sense, but again, it should be a common sense already, but it's not so common, right? So it's common sense our community, I think, is that when you are doing something focused, you need to let your clients know ahead of time. Like if you need a quiet moment, like you're not checking your phones. So you need to really let your clients know, like, again, I think maybe just stock it as like constant update. I think Jack was putting it constant update. Like sometimes CPA, right? You guys are doing balance sheet, and so you are ignoring like all the messages. So you have to tell the customer, hey, I'm gonna be editing my video for an hour, right? I'm doing like something really quiet. So if I don't answer your message, I am still here. I'm still here. I'm still working. I'm not gonna respond to you fast. My husband is a big D. This person is a big D. Okay. So his common sense in the past, right, is that if my VA doesn't answer me in 60 seconds, they are not here. Well, like, come on, babe. Like 60 seconds, that is hard. For me, it's 15 minutes, right? So moving forward, after we get him in to work with us, we literally tell the VA, when you're leaving, right before you get your butt out, type it in. So that my husband, right, again, who wins, right? At that moment, his husband win, actually. It wasn't a wife win yet, okay? Marie, there's hope for you, okay? So at that moment, it was always husband win, right? So everybody's like, type it in because I don't want my husband to get mad. Then I'm going to have a hard time, right? And my husband was cranky as heck at the time, right? Now it's me that is cranky, not him, right? But communicate, like, be right back. Go to the bathroom, right? I'm going to do this for 30 minutes, right? I'm going to go buy batteries, right? I remember Monique telling me, hey, I'm just going to go buy batteries for my mouse real quick. I'll be right back, right? Good. Let us know, right? That's a common sense because if not, when we need you, especially if you're in customer service position, it's so hard for us to get to know where you are, especially if we're really counting on you on everything. The amount of me depending on Monique was so high, like to a point where, like, if she's not here, I don't know how to do a contract. I don't know what to do and how to do a lot of things. So when she's not here and I don't know where she's at, sometimes I just freaked out. And at the end, what does that force me to do? I want to hire another VA, right? Or I don't want to give her so much power, quote unquote, right? Because what if she's gone? But again, the gone idea will never come across if communication is always there. You get what I'm saying? But again, if you do not want a needy client, always get your client to at least have two of you, right? So at least when you're gone, the other person can do the work. At the end, that's what we do, right? We have two, three, four. Now, right now we have 50, right? In the community, we have about 200, right? So now I know I have a limited amount of hands that can help me with everything, right? So I don't feel the lack anymore, right? But again, the key, yeah, I mean, come on, man, she is irreplaceable. Client will email her, and I don't see the email, right? And I don't know how to help my clients. So again, I'm not sure what I will put this in as a 15 as a common sense, but I mean, it is a common sense. It's not a high level common. It's a very high level common sense. Is that I know as a VA, we want to feel important. We want to feel the individualistic. We want to own certain things, right? Like when we first started, Monique liked to own her thing, which means if clients is sending an email, send it to monique@philosome.com, right? It's not this business actually, so like way previous business. But the problem is when Monique is not here, right? Because it's me and her only, right? When Monique is not here, the clients call. I have no idea because I cannot access Monique's email. That I have to wake her up. I got to do something to figure out what's going on with this. So then what we do, I want you all to remember, okay, is to have the common email box. So now Phyllis, Monique, customer service all go to one email account. Because when I'm gone, Monique has it. When Monique is gone, I am there. Because I don't want Monique, when Monique have like have a birthday with the son, right? Kiefer have a birthday. I mean, I used to literally call her, hey, I need you to answer your freaking phone right now. I cannot access this thing. It is very stressful. I don't want to wake you up, but I must because everything is inside of you. I know. I know you want to be irreplaceable, but that is not irreplaceable. That is limitation. The client should have all the access of what you have. The PowerPoint, the social media posts, the copywriting, right? Make sure that your client have access of them because your clients, like me, are crazy. We work sometime at midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, Sunday, whenever. We just thought of something, we just do. We don't have a clock like the 8 to 5 clock, especially when we first started. So you do not want them to call you, talk to you whenever you're on break. I hate it when I have to call Monique because then I feel guilty, right? I gotta wake her up, this, that, whatever. So please make sure that you have communion stuff. Like if it's a customer, everything is on one place. So that if you're not there, they can access it. Don't worry, they are not gonna fire you because you prove your point. I even prove a point to Monique because Monique's like, I don't know, maybe you will replace me. We sent her out for a month to India for a spiritual retreat, right? When she was like, oh my God, I can't because what if you fire me? What if there's no, I don't have a role in the company anymore, right? But by the end, she come back, she doesn't feel that, like she's missing for a month. The key is that if you help the clients grow, you have this invisible, irreplaceable position. But if you limit them because you're so afraid of letting it go, then this is not a trust relationship. Trust means that whether you're here or not, we are together. Trust means that, whether you're here or not, right? Well, we will be able to get it done. Right now, me and her, our trust is whether she's doing it or not, right? As long as it's done, that is, I just trust that it will be done, right? She says she's not anymore. Yeah, I think she's not anymore. Once in a while. right? Again, man, I can go on and on with with a lot of common sense. Everybody's like typing all the common sense, right? So I'll give you a couple more. One of them that Jessa said is time blocking. Like again, at the very beginning, you're doing you must do micromanaging. You must put down 8 hours. What are you working on? Because if you don't put down what you're working on, they don't know what you're working on. Then the common sense for us is you're not doing anything. So you need to have a way to communicate about what are you working on, especially on the overtime. Please do not do overtime because unless you let them know, especially video editor out here. Sometimes you're like, oh man, I'm a really good person, right? I do a video editing for this video for 5 hours, but I only clock 2 hours. Great for you at the very beginning. But imagine if you are doing that every single day, every single week. At the end, what do? You got burnout. You feel like the world is unfair to you because you work 5 hours for one video, but you're only getting paid for two. But you created that problem yourself. It wasn't us because you did not communicate with us that it takes you 5 hours to get this thing done instead of two. You thought that it was good because shyness doesn't make you money, right? You don't have to tell them because they most likely will know that you use 5 hours. We don't. I promise you, almost every single VA that I work with, I caught them do overtime without telling me. You can always say, boss, I'm going to do overtime, but I don't expect you to pay me. You get what I'm saying? But the thing is, you need to let them know that this thing does cost me 5 hours to get it done. If not, eventually, like I do have a few people, it's like, man, I can work with you. And oh, what happened? Oh, actually, I have been doing overtime, but I'm not getting paid. I'm burnout. I don't want to do this. I'm like, oh, what? What do you not know? How come? Right? And I was like, man, like you should talk to me about this. Okay. Again, there's so much more like my team is like sharing with me, right? But I think the one last one is I love the number 17. Last one is celebrate your wins. It is not a common sense for you to celebrate your wins. It is not how you grew up to focus on your wins. And I wanted to remind you again, to tell you again, because my coach say that actually everything that I tell you, I need to tell you 9 times because you will get it on the 10th time. And I felt like, no, I shouldn't be repeating myself all the time. But he said, it's a common sense that I need to remind you at least 9 times before you will really get it in your brain. And literally he was teaching me something and I was like, oh, I never heard that last time. No, I taught you last time too. But I was like, no, I don't remember. Right? But is to celebrate your wins. We are very busy. As a client, we are very busy. We are also focusing on all the negative improvement, challenge, problems. Sometimes we don't really know what is the achievement that you have done for the company. What is the value that you add for the company? Again, shyness doesn't make you money because we don't know how good you are unless you tell us so. Like what I shared with you on the very beginning of the training, right? Hey babe, I just cooked you a plate of, I don't know, ribs, right? Hey babe, I went to the store today, stand in line and get this amazing ribs for you, and it take me 5 hours to make this to make this rib for you, right? Which one would you take longer time, or which one would you take time to enjoy it a little bit more? One or two? One or two? One or two? Right? Why? Because I gave you the context of how much effort I put in on this win. Some of you guys are doing accounting, am I right? And you can say, boss, it took me 3 hours to find this extra 10 cents to reconcile, right? Oh man, thank you so much for ensuring that the 10 cents is done. Sometimes I just write it off, right? But now I know the effort that you're putting in to ensure that they're accurate. Right, boss? I actually went to take a 2 hour extra course on how to do video editing. Oh, wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. Right. Hey, boss, by the way, I just posted social media post and we have gained 100 followers. Wow. Thank you so much for letting me know. Right. Hey, boss, we just talked to this client and this client gave us an amazing testimonials. Wow. That is amazing. Hey, boss, I just got this part done. Boss, I just did this SOP. Right. Even though, the truth is, even though I preach about this all the time, in my own organization, a lot of people are still not doing it. But again, celebrating wins have direct impact from being positive for you, counting all the right thing that you have done, manifesting that you're doing all the positive thing, and it also help you with your pay raise. because I have been hearing how amazing you are, how much you have done, how much, again, please don't send a whole paragraph or like a whole letters of what you have done, right? Like 3 bullet points, 2 bullet points, 1 bullet point, right? What is the highlight of your day? So then we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much. Oh my God, this is amazing. Wow, this person keep telling me all these wins. Wow, there's like 50 wins so far. Oh my God, I need to, she must be really good. I can't fire her, right? I need to increase her pay. She must be my VP because, after she show up in my company, there's so many wins in my company that I didn't even realize, right? But the thing is that it's again, I think, okay, I'll give you one last one, and then we're gonna go breakout room. Okay, Jai, we're gonna go into breakout room. Like one last one is that it is all on you to initiate. So how should we say it better? It starts with you first. Okay, everything starts with you. A lot of you guys common sense is, this is my client's company. I'm waiting for her or him to tell me what to do. I'm waiting for her or him to be happy so that I can be happy. All right? I'm waiting for her or him to tell me that I need to create this, and then I'll create it. But you are your own people. Start with you. Hey, boss, I would love to have an amazing relationship with you. Can I schedule a call with you every week? Hey, boss, I know you're sometimes kind of stressed. Would it be okay if I tell you a joke every single day before we start the day? Right? Hey, boss, I know that you love, ice cream. Is it okay if I send you an ice cream once a week? Right? How many of you guys have experienced this? Whenever, you start a conversation, right? You usually would, you would ask, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing good, da 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 da. And what do? Then after you answer, selfish not to ask other people, right? Then what you do is, so how are you doing? Right? How are you doing? How are you doing? Right? Did you eat yet? Oh, I ate already. Did you eat yet? Am I right? So it's always the person that started first. So if you like, oh my God, Phil, boss, I think, we need to line up the mood. Like, let me tell you a joke, right? After you tell a joke. Oh, let me tell you a joke, right? Oh, you buy me an ice cream? Let me also buy you an ice cream. Am I right? I remember the day that, Monique and the team bought me, a purse. But I think I bought them purses first. I think I can't remember. But, like I got 2 purses so far from the team. Am I right? And I buy them cakes. Now they buy me cakes too, right? Obviously, I'm the boss. I started quite a few things, right? But at the same time, if you want something, start first. Okay. If you want something, start first. Okay. And it's not hard. It's really not hard, right? And by as simple as giving compliment. Oh, boss, you look really nice today. Right? I think Rachel told me, oh, boss, your eyelashes look really nice today. I said, I know, I spent like extra time to do it today. Right? The next thing I want to tell Rachel is, oh, your earring look nice today. You get what I'm talking about? Because she tell me that I'm nice, right? I gotta find something in her. Like, okay, where is she? Where is she? Oh, she looked really nice right there. Then you started a really good relationship. Am I right? So anyway, those are the 18 comments that I want to share with you. My coach told me I should only give you 3, but I was like, oh my God, there's so much gold. There's so much gold, right? Like, I just really love it. So those are the 18 that I wanted to share with you. And right now we're going to be opening up the breakout room for you guys to share which 3 really aligns with you, right? Which one are you like, and also maybe which 3 you have not heard about that, or you're really weak on, that you need to improve on. Again, are these common sense for everybody else? No. This is a common sense for Philisong community, for you to become a super VA, and then for you to become a super VP. How is this common sense being born? It's being born based on my experience with working with the VA, with my expectation and how I like the company to be ran. After I learned from a lot from Tony Robbins, and this is how we crafted all these common sense coming out. Okay, the power of follow-up will not show up if I'm not in the Tony Robbins community. Does it kind of make sense? Again, these are the common sense. I know it's 18, it's kind of hard to like remember, right? But the best common sense I'm gonna give you is, just start with you and be the best you.